Are we back? I think we're back. Thanks, Spectrum, for dumping my stream. Midstream again. Alright. Yeah, I happened to look over. I saw the flash of reconnecting over on the monitor. And the next thing I know, everything's down. So I got the link shared back out again for everybody. For those of you who are paying attention back over on DLive and back on the Twitch side, we are back on. So we will come with the exciting conclusion of Contemporary. Yeah, Mogwai says, it was a good show till Biden pulled the plug. Thank you, Mogwai. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened. It's a Spectrum thing, because they do that all the time. It is better here, by the way, but it's obviously not perfect. Like, this was a constant thing when I lived in just outside Janesville. This was a constant thing before I moved west. Now, I mean, we only do this maybe once a month, maybe twice a month. But it was a daily thing before, so we are getting better at some aspect of it. And look, hey, Steam's restarted again. Haha. Haha. Wait just a second to get this off my screen. And then we'll put the screen back up and we'll go from there. Alright, so where were we before we were so rudely interrupted? Hope everybody comes back, I really do. Oh yeah, actually we got 3 people joining us back over on the Twitch side, so hey, we jumped up better than where we were at. Alright, let's keep going. Mr. Scott says it might be weather related because it is getting kind of eerie out there. I don't know if the storm has started, but it is supposed to get nasty out there tonight. All right. Let's see. The new motion was prompted by video footage that House Speaker McCarthy shared exclusively with Tucker Carlson. Then on Fox News earlier this year, some of the video Carlson aired last month showed police appearing to open a door for Chansley and direct him through various hallways of the Capitol. I think it's good that he wants to get a redress from this and get his sentence vacated. Because I'm sure, I mean, no matter what's going to happen with that guy, it's going to be hard for him to get a job after this and live in normal society when everybody knows who he is and what he went to prison for to begin with. But at least to have it expunged and make it so legally they can't go back and use that against him. Alright. Let's get the Rumble stream back up. You know what's cool is that I think the Rumble stream stayed the same. I don't know if it'll thread it together on the Rumble side, because I've never really had a dump out of the stream on Rumble, so. But I know that I'm getting more views and more growth on the Rumble side. Alright. Let's talk about Tucker, Mogwai's favorite subject. Exclusive. Fox News is going to regret the decision. Tucker Carlson shocked neighbors in his quaint Maine town. Rally around the firebrand, known locally as a modest pickup truck driving good guy who likes to fish and chop wood. Now, I'm sure he's got the toppest of the tippy top of the line pickup truck. You know what's really weird about the stream dumping out like that? The music never stopped. Typically, I know when the stream's about to dump because I'll get a hiccup in the music or something, but I didn't get any of that this time. Let's see. Just hours after he was fired by Fox News, conservative firebrand Tucker Carlson's phone lit up with well wishes from locals in the quaint Maine town where he spends most of his summers. The 53-year-old has stirred up vitriol as one of the most polarizing political commentators in the country. But in the small rural town of Woodstock, residents never felt that antagonism in person from a man they describe as a good neighbor. More time for fishing, his carpenter, Patrick Fenney, sent in a text message to Carlson at lunchtime on Monday, shortly after the news broke. An hour later, Tucker, at home with his wife in Florida, phoned him back. He called me back at 1 and said he found out about a half an hour before I did, Fenney told DailyMail.com on Tuesday, standing inside Carlson's satellite TV studio that the local helped him build in an old barn downtown. He told me it started out as a normal day. He got up, wrote the show, and then he got a phone call saying it was all over and they were going to announce it. He was pretty shocked, he added. He asked them why they wouldn't give him a reason. But Carlson seemed nonplussed. He was not upset at all, Fenney told DailyMail.com. He said that maybe he'd fish a little bit more this summer. Well, and that's good. He deserves a break. Yeah, DLive actually is a really good platform. It really is. It was the sort of humble banter Carlson is known for locally, where he's seen as one of the friendliest, down-to-earth guys you'd ever meet. So, it's good that he gets some well wishes off that. And, you know, these people who are against this, and, you know, people on the right are just as guilty of this as people on the left, where they try to caricaturize people like Carlson as being the center and the root of all evil. Constant. Horrible. And not relatable. They're monsters. They're demons. And I'm going to be completely realistic with you. Most of these people are just regular down-to-earth people. I've hung out with some people who have been described as some of the worst people in the world. And they're just, like, once you take the political, especially once you take the political conversation on them, they're just regular people. They really are. We've got a little bit of an update on the Tucker firing story from the Post Millennial. Breaking: ex-producer suing Tucker Carlson has never even met him. No author given. Tucker Carlson tonight. Producer Abby Grossberg is suing Carlson and the Fox network over sexual behavior in the workplace, despite never having met Carlson in person. The Spectator reports that lawyers for Grossberg have confirmed that she never actually met Carlson. Like many on the Tucker Carlson Tonight staff, Abby never met Tucker in person because he taped the show from his personal studios in Maine and Florida, and he did not visit Fox's New York headquarters during her time there, said one of Grossberg's attorneys, Kimberly A. Catala. Grossberg was the head of booking from July 2022 until she was recently placed on leave in March. She alleges that Carlson encouraged a hostile and sexist workplace environment among his employees. Grossberg said that she was subjected to bullying, anti-Semitic comments, and sexism by staff while working out at Fox's Manhattan office, Spectator reports. Despite having never met Carlson, Grossberg told rival network MSDNC that Tucker and his executive producer Justin Wells, who was also fired, really were responsible for breaking me and making my life a living hell. Since Tucker did not come to the Fox office, he relied on Justin Wells, his executive producer, and others, like Alex McCaskill, a senior producer, who were present at the office every day to be his eyes, ears, and mouthpiece, to convey his tone, as they threateningly reminded Miss Grossberg, Catala said. See, and this is the kind what I was just talking about in the previous article. This is the kind of caricature that they try to make out of everybody who does not go along with their worldview. I consider, and we've drifted apart since I moved because we're on opposite schedules now at this point, but there was a while where I considered Stephen Ignoramus one of my best friends. I really did. I am always excited to see him too, by the way. Constantly. He's still one of my favorite people in the world, and always will be. And in spite of the fact that we don't see eye to eye on Christian nationalism or the right wing, he is one of the few people that I will trust without question to hand the password to Contemporary and all my channels. Because he has so much respect for me that he puts his what I consider wild ideas aside and actually puts on a contemporary style news show, I would give him the password, and well, actually he knows it. The real password, not the fake one that I put up for when I go on vacation. Any day of the week. But I've read the Daily Beast article. I've had many people comment on many of the videos that he's been in many of the interviews that I've done with him over the years. Almost everything that he and I have appeared in together has had some sort of nasty comment trying to tell me how bad of a person he is. And he's not. He's a regular guy. He's a musician, but we won't hold that against him. And he acts like a lot of the musicians I've met throughout my life. But he is a regular guy. He's not the caricature that they try to make him out to be. And yet, we see the same thing off of this, because Tucker Carlson was seen as vaguely right-wing on Fox News. Then he creates this anti-Semitic environment, and he encourages people to be anti-Semitic. And even if I never come here, he's anti-Semitic to me. And it's, I think, telling that she's never actually met him. Alright, a little bit of congressional fighting here. We're almost done. We've only got a couple more here. And then I think we are going to watch that full video, after all. From The Blaze, Mike Lee issues a challenge to Elizabeth Warren after she claims right-wing extremists have hijacked Supreme Court. From Chris Enlow. Senator Mike Lee challenged Democrat colleague Senator Elizabeth Warren to a debate this week over her renewed demands to pack the Supreme Court. Amid new allegations of ethical impropriety against Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, Warren claimed on Monday that the right-wing extremists have hijacked the Supreme Court. The only antidote for such a disease, according to Warren, is to pack the court with justices who would issue rulings that she agrees with. She couched her demands using language about rebalance and protecting our democracy, which, again, as I've always remind you, anytime the left refers to our democracy, they mean our hegemony. I'll just be blunt. Right-wing extremists have hijacked the Supreme Court of the United States, from shredding abortion rights to rigging the rules against workers and consumers. And an out-of-touch majority is substituting their own views for the rule of law. You know, just like they have done for the past 60 years. For the sake of the freedoms and the sake of our hegemony, we must expand the Supreme Court to rebalance it. And we need to institute a binding code of ethics for the justices. The Utah Republican offered to debate Warren about the merits of her demands. "I'd love to debate you on this topic at a mutually agreeable time and venue," he told her on Tuesday. Lee also directed Warren to his book, Saving Nine, which makes a comprehensive argument against expanding the Supreme Court. Some of the most compelling evidence in Lee's book focuses on the words of the Democrats and liberal-leaning justices who warned against packing the court. I'm not 100% opposed to the idea of bringing the amount of justices up to 13 to reflect the number of federal districts, to bring it back in line with the number of federal districts in this country. I'm not opposed to that in theory. In practice, I have a lot of concerns with it because of the fact of who is going to fill those seats. And it is going to be a partisan line. No matter which way, no matter what happens and who is in power, when the expansion is made, it's going to be a partisan exercise. And it's just not something we can get away from. And no matter which side does it, it's going to be packing the court at that point. If we were in a more tempered and tame political time, where it wasn't all about partisan bickering and partisan jabs and trying to get your agenda forced through the courts in one way or another, And I don't believe that Trump's picks are like that, but I know how they're going to be perceived of on the outside. Because anything Donald Trump does is evil, you have to remember. If there was some compromise where, like, the Senate Majority Leader got to, especially if we were an opposite government, I'd hate to say Mitch McConnell doing it, but let's just say right now, we decide to bring the number of seats up to 13, the number of district courts. But Biden only gets to pick 2 of them, and then McConnell and McCarthy get to come together and pick the other 2. That I would be semi-okay with. Somewhat okay with, but there's no constitutional mechanism for that. That's the problem. And again, anything else that we do at this point is going to be a partisan battle. On exactly 50-50 lines, just about. Mr. Scott is going passive mode. That's going to pop up right in the middle of my screen too, isn't it? I'm going to jump out of this for a second, because it's got my details on it. I don't know why I just clicked on that, but maybe force a habit. Alright, now we're back into it. So that's where we sit at for that. Eric Adams having some issue with what's going on in his city. Eric Adams wants FEMA to ban cities from busing migrants to New York City, as 1,300 arrived this week alone. But Eric, you're a sanctuary city, remember? You have nothing but love for these immigrants. From Bernadette Hogan and Emily Crane. Eric Adams wants the Federal Emergency Management Agency to stop other states from shipping migrants to New York City, as the number of asylum seekers arriving in the Big Apple surged to 1,300 over a 3-day stretch this weekend, sources told the Post on Thursday. A frustrated Adams made the plea during an internal budget briefing on Wednesday, complaining that FEMA should crack down on cities using federal grant money to move migrants to New York so the Big Apple doesn't become more burdened by the cost of aiding them. Sources with knowledge of the meeting said, "You're not burdened. You're blessed by the ability to aid them. You're a sanctuary city, remember?" There was an issue about the FEMA money that other places are getting, that they can use that money to rent buses. Why are we giving money to send people to different cities? A said of his owner's plea. Adams' complaint came after a 3-day stretch from Sunday, April 23rd to Wednesday, April 26th, in which 1,300 migrants came to New York City. This was part of a surge of 2,300 that came in the week since April 19th. In that same time, 8 new emergency shelters opened up to cater to the growing influx, according to the data, though it was not immediately clear where in the city they were located. Adams, who last week blasted the White House for turning its back on New York City, has repeatedly begged the federal government for help, warning that the financial burden of sheltering asylum seekers is threatening the city. No. Blessing. Adams, you're a sanctuary city, remember? It's not a burden. TFNN Network is giving me Bible verses and a sketchy website that we are not going to open. I will be looking that up afterwards, but no, we're not going to do that. I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. I have no idea what that whale is either. Supporter. Has this person donated to me? That'd be cool. Still not going to open the link online, on air. And I will be checking it against a virus checker too. But still, thank you. The mayor's latest call for federal spending crackdown comes as FEMA prepares to dish out $800 million and a migrant-related federal aid at the end of next month to help cities combat the cost of housing asylum seekers. The Big Apple's already applied for a $650 million chunk of that federal cash and is banking on it to help plug gaps in the city's budget. Good luck, because there are a lot of people ahead of you at this point. And the last one that we're going to do today. I'm not going to do the video today after all. Because I don't know what's actually... I thought about that for a second while we were waiting for everything to reconnect, and honestly, I don't know what's going to get me copyright popped. So I'm going to run it on the Clips channel, on the test channel, to see what pops up for it. But the last one, Supreme Court Justice Alito says he has a pretty good idea on who leaked the Dobbs draft decision. From Adam Sabes. Supreme Court Justice Alito says he has a pretty good idea on who leaked the draft version of a ruling that would overturn Roe. Alito made the comments in an interview with the Wall Street Journal published Friday, stating that while he knows who likely leaked the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization decision, it's not enough for the court to name somebody. A draft decision, published by Politico on May 2nd, was eventually overturned Roe v. Wade. I personally have a pretty good idea who's responsible, but that's different from the level of proof that's needed to name somebody, Alito said. Alito said the leak was an effort to intimidate justices on the court. It was part of an effort to prevent the Dobbs draft from becoming the decision of the court, and that's how it was used for those 6 weeks by people on the outside as part of a campaign to try to intimidate the court, Alito said. Alito added the leak created division within the court, which has since been worked through. The leak created an atmosphere of suspicion and distrust. We worked through it, and last year we got our work done. This year I think we're trying to get back to normal operations as much as we can, but it was damaging, Alito told the Wall Street Journal. I don't like this. I'm going to say that right off the bat. I don't care for this. Not one bit. And the reason I don't care for this comes from the fact that, number one, if you know something, as you're telling us you don't have the evidence to do this, you're a judge, for God's sake. You understand the words beyond a reasonable doubt. So don't tell me that this is just some decision that you're making as a first-year lawyer or something. You are sitting on one of the highest courts in the land. You have overseen hundreds of appeals, decided what to take up and what to leave out. And that's that's after spending your life in both the private practice and in lower courts, also making decisions like this. Unless you have the goods and the evidence and can take that person to trial, there's no reason to say that you have an idea who it is. That is bullshit. I don't care what their person's reasoning was, and I don't care what your reasoning is. That is a bunch of crap. Figure out if you've got enough evidence there to levy a charge. And if it's criminal, bring it down to the appropriate grand jury. Don't come out and tell the media, oh, I think I know who it is. Alright, and before we head out of here, let's look at our Twitter trending for the day. Hey look, Spectrum got back to me. You complain about them enough and they do stuff. Alright, but before I dig into that, let's get into this. So we have got the trending going on right here, and we will look at the top 5 stories of what Twitter thinks we're supposed to be talking about. It appears that we did not talk about any of these tonight, including one is WWE, which it seems to always be at this time of night. Probably because SmackDown is on right now. And our number one trend is hashtag SmackDown. You want to see an epic SmackDown in the dirty corrupt media? Watch this guy kick their lying asses. Okay, you have my attention.
I'm looking for the one with Seymour Hersh because it's a policy and press hall event. So shouldn't we be talking about the Nord Stream since that's the biggest story of the century? And you guys, you have the executive editor of the New York Times there who came out with a phony story to try and block Seymour Hersh. It's just kind of funny how that happened, did you even acknowledge Seymour Hersh? All of you are executive editors of papers that broke Pentagon, My Lai, Watergate. Is this the same papers or not? Is there anything you've gotten right in the last 20 years, or am I mistaken about that? It's just kind of funny because Iraq, wrong. Syria, wrong. Russiagate, really wrong. Okay, the list goes on and on. So the last thing you could do to try and actually fix your reputation is acknowledge that through leaks, we had to find out that Zelensky was going to bomb Moscow on the anniversary. If you're so impartial, shouldn't you at least say, right, that Zelensky was going to bring us on the verge of World War III? That seems pretty fair. While Julian Assange rots in prison, all of you've got, fat checks because he's in jail for doing your job. And you know what? Tucker Carlson ain't no Seymour Hersh. But he did something you guys are scared to do. Speak the truth and actually be critical of the war, which is why he was actually fired from Fox. Because you are all cowards. Every single one of you. None of you have actually had any relevancy. And you know what? The mainstream press is now dying. They're
trying to shut him up. Look at that.
Again. You have no credibility with the public. The only people who care about what you have to say are elite assholes who have nothing productive to say anymore. And it's dying off. So will you at least say something, either about Nord Stream or Ukraine or the fact that Zelensky brought us to the verge of World War III and the only reason we knew about that was through leaks? Go ahead. It's a free speech event, right? You guys are the press. Let's say something here. Mr. Khan, come on. You're the executive editor of the New York Times, I'm just trying to get into some good trouble here, man. Ooh, listen, Karen, get out of my face for a second. I got to talk to these gentlemen. Okay. Well, I just want to hear what they have to say. Go ahead. I'm done.
Wait your turn.
You're not going to tell them to you. Come.
Wait your turn.
You could project if we can't.
I would just say, I think it's important to hear everybody's point of view.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
All right.
I do think that we need to give our moderator a chance to ask other questions.
We're on the verge of World War III.
Some of the people in the audience also do so. Thank you. Really, thank you.
Say something about this bombing. We blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. Listen, don't stand there while there are people rotting in prison. Nobody said anything about Uhuru, right? The socialists who are in jail for being critical of this war. God damn it.
Well, that was not what I expected on the SmackDown tab. But yeah, just to see something like that, and you start to see where the narrative is starting to break down on Ukraine, but also the support of it. As I said at the top of the show, I do try to stick to kitchen table issues and not necessarily go into the foreign avenue, unless I'm talking about how our tax dollars are going to fund it. Because with the exception of a few special forces, we actually don't have any American lives on the line over there at this point. I just wish we could stop paying for it. But, if you look around the mainstream media, that has all fallen off of it too. So, and then SmackDown, WWE is going on at this point as well. That was intense. I'm glad I stopped over to that. Alright, Titans is trending. Will Levis is Tennessee bound. Titans trade up and draft a quarterback with the 33rd overall pick. By the way, I don't know who the Packers quarterback is going to be next year because it does appear that Aaron Rodgers is going to be a New York Jet. Now, I don't know if Levi's will be starting as first string quarterback or if he'll be in the backup position for a little while, but oof. Again, I also haven't watched football for a couple years. So, one thing for me is I don't know who is hot and who isn't right now. Malik Willis is trending, number 3. Apparently, Malik Willis also got drafted by the Titans. Luke Wee is here, welcome. Welcome back to the conclusion because, yeah, we got kicked off the air at one point. I am thinking very hard about forgiving the NFL this year, by the way. I'm also thinking very hard about forgiving MLB and the Boston Red Sox. I did watch a bit of the Milwaukee-Boston game the other night when they did interleague. Because when I went to get my fish fry after Contemporary, it was on the TV. It was really weird cheering for the Red Sox, who had won, in a Wisconsin bar against the Brewers. Alright, number 4, Xbox Free Code Friday. Xbox Free Code Friday, round 2 time. Read this and you could win a code for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Unfortunately, I don't have an Xbox, so I probably can't. My favorite Jedi would be Qui-Gon from The Phantom Menace, since that was the first Star Wars movie I ever saw. As far as lightsaber goes, I would like mine to have a light whip. It would look like this, but purple. For Mace Windu. I don't know, this game actually seems a little bit interesting, and I might have to up the graphics card and see if I can get it on PC. I know I can't get it on Xbox because I don't have an Xbox. That I'm not going to put on the screen for very long because that might be against YouTube TOS. And if it's not against YouTube TOS, it's Twitch TOS because certain activities involving filament and firearms. But if you have an Xbox, go check out Free Code Friday. And maybe you will get a chance at a copy of Jedi Survivor. And the last one is Branch, which I believe is also going to be about the draft. Add a branch to the D. Yep, it looks like Brian Branch got drafted by Detroit as well. And also some things about the judicial branch. So congratulations to Brian Branch. Out of the SEC and into the cold north. Into the NFC Central. Or NFC North, I guess it's called now. And with that, we're done. We're out of here. We finished up early. I'm gonna go get fish. That's time for that. I love going out and getting fish on Friday. I love the fact that I'm out of work early enough that I can do it, because there was no place where I used to live that did fish fry late like they do around here. But also the fact that, you know, I can just go out and do it without thinking about it now. Like, and again, and I've talked about it on things I'm thankful for. Like, adding that extra $3 an hour, plus giving me a little bit of overtime, really changed the way that I do things and go out and do. I can go out and spend money and not think about it. I still do think about it and I obsess over it because I know what it's like to be poor. But, you know, it's better now. So I'm gonna go get some fish. I'm going to send you guys out on your way. And by the way, to TFN Network, thank you for your support. But Your GTV flyers that you're advertising there, I looked that up while we were watching the SmackDown video, and that's not my thing. So I will contact Rumble and see if I can get you a refund on what your support is, because that's not the kind of thing that I want to go down the road on. Sorry, but I'll see if I can get you your money back at least. But let's head out of here for the day. I don't even know what the support was. It just gives the whale mark that you were a supporter at one point. But yeah, I'll figure out if I can, if you did give a financial compensation back to me, I will see if I can get that refunded back to you. Thank you, though. But we're out of here. Let's throw some outro music up and go. Alright, so thank you everybody who came by and chatted in the live chat. I've got to go to work in the morning, so I'm kind of glad that we got out of here a bit early here, and I am hungry as well, so the fast is broken. I'll be eating carbs, fish and fries. It's going to be a great time, but we'll be back here on Monday for more news, more headlines, and more contemporary, and a host who is 1 year older. That's right, my birthday's on Sunday, so we'll be back here for that. Come back and join me here on Monday. We will see what happens in the next 2 days in news. Whether they blast us with a whole bunch of stuff over the weekend, or whether we get a nice quiet weekend and go from there. But looking forward to seeing you there. Looking forward to seeing some chats, some conversation on all the platforms, including Odyssey and Rumble as well. Always love seeing you guys here. Come back again, join us, bring a few friends next time, and we will see you then. Remember, we read live chat at the end of the show on Monday night as well, so if you got some stuff that you want to get read on the air, make sure you get that in as well, and we will see you here next time on Contemporary. And until then, I'm Jay Edgar, and this is Contemporary. Take care.